This week, as you're continuing to work on those color correction projects that you got due soon, I was going to show you some more tips and tricks for masks. Now, some of this I've already shown you, but I'll go over those again and then give you some additional tips as well. So here's a photo of my son playing football several years back. He's much taller now. And I just wanted to do something kind of interesting with it, and I'm going to use masks to help me out and demonstrate some of these tools. So I'm going to duplicate that background layer. If I click it, there we go. That's what I want. And now I'm going to change toggle the visibility on layer 1, and I'm going to apply a motion blur to the background layer. So filter, if I'm selected on the right layer. Blur and motion blur. Where do we go? There it is. Okay, and this part isn't terribly important. I'm just doing it for fun. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay. Alright, now I'm where I want to be. So what I want to do is I want to show you how you can create layer masks effectively from selections first. So obviously I want some of this image to show through as blurred, other areas to show through as they were originally. I want my son to actually appear as he typically would. I got the wrong button there. I'm going to use a quick mask to make a selection of my son. Let's see here. And I'm not real worried about it because I know with the layer mask I can clean this up later, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, exit the quick mask and then apply a layer mask. Now what's going to happen here is that when I create a layer mask, Photoshop is automatically going to decide he has a selection here. I'm going to use that selection as a basis for the layer mask. So I'm going to click on layer mask, and wouldn't you know it, there we go, we got a layer mask. It's based on the selection. But there's one thing wrong with this though. I actually got the opposite of what I wanted. I showed you this last time, but I want to show you again. You can invert instead of going, crap, I got to start all over. And instead of doing that, save yourself a little bit of time. With the layer mask selected, I'm going to hit Control-I on the keyboard, which is invert. And now I have the exact opposite of what I had before. So now it looks like my son's in motion, everybody else is standing still. So very easy to do. And then, because I have a layer mask and it's very flexible, very easy for me to go in here and clean it up. So I'm gonna make his buddies look like they're getting left behind because he is just flying down the field, of course, which is not true. He's not all that fast. I have to be honest. Sorry, Dalton. There we go. But this is how he imagines himself. I'm going to hit, there's another shortcut I wanted to remind you of. X on the keyboard toggles my foreground and my background color, so I can make tweaks and corrections on my layer mask very easily. Let's see. Control-Z. I just want to clean that up that way. Okay, so you can use the X key. Now let's look at how clean this layer mask is. I've done a lot of different things to this layer mask. I started out with a selection that was created with a quick mask, with the Rubylith overlay, and now I just want to see how clean this mask is. And we have a couple of different methods for looking at the mask that I want to show you. The first one I'm going to show you is, let's look at the Rubylith overlay. We can actually do that by holding Shift and Alt and then clicking on the layer mask. You can see it's not that clean. I've got some problems here with this layer mask. Okay, so if you make sloppy layer masks, I'm going to be able to tell. Now that's good for seeing the image and the layer mask at the same time. Shift Alt click. I'm going to do that again to release it. But we can also, you can just Alt click and see the mask only, and then it really reveals how unclean that layer mask is. So I can go in here and then in this mode clean it up a little bit more, get it all cleaned up. Ooh, I may have gotten a little too aggressive there. Get his arm. Hit X to toggle so I can paint with some black, and then Alt click again. There we go. Actually, you know what, I don't like what I did there, so Control, no, just hit X, paint it back. I was trying to bring his arm back, but I went a little bit too far. Okay, so that's how you can actually see the layers, or excuse me, the layer masks with the image information. Now, oftentimes when you are creating a layer mask, what you want to reveal is, or excuse me, conceal is much larger than what you want revealed, as was the case here. You can, if you choose, and you know, you always start out with a completely white layer mask. If you hit Control and Delete, it'll actually fill the layer with what are the background layers. In this case, because my background color, excuse me, it'll fill with my background color. Because my background color is white, it's going to fill the layer with white. So I can completely clear my layer mask that way. If my background layer is black and I hit Control Delete, it'll just conceal everything. So if you want to start with a different, or clean up a mask, and you just want to start over, and you want to start with the background color, you just hit Control Delete while the layer mask is selected, and you'll get the background color. If you start out with white and you want to just go with concealing everything, you can of course hit Control I as well, which is what I'm doing here, just to toggle those back and forth. So some other cool little tips for working with layer masks, hopefully make things smoother and easier for you. Very easy to use, very powerful tool, and of course your grade is going to depend on using some of these, so make sure that you use these, take advantage of them in your project for the localized color issues.